Hi, I'm Assistant Professor Aditi Mathur, International Schools of Business Management, Suresh Kanviya University, Jaipur. And in today's video lecture, we'll be learning analysis of long run cost of production. So before we begin our lecture, let us just have a quick recap of what do we mean by short run. So short run is an economic period of time over which at least one factor must remain fixed. For most of the firms, the fixed resources or factors which cannot be increased to meet the increasing demand of the goods is capital, that is, your plants and machinery. So, short run is actually a time in which your one of the factor of production, it is generally the capital in nature, maybe the plant, machinery, the land, they are fixed in nature. That means they will not change as your level of output will change, and rest all the other factors are variable. They changes as your output changes. If your output increases, the variable cost also increases, and if your output decreases, your variable cost also decreases. So this is what is a short run all about. Short run then is a period of time over which output can be changed by adjusting the quantities of resources such as labor, raw material, fuel, but the size or scale of the firm remains fixed. So the size of the firm or the scale of the firm becomes the fixed production factor, whereas the other factors like your labor, raw material, fuel, they become your variable factor. So the short run is a period where you have both the fixed cost and the variable cost. Fixed cost is the cost which is incurred because of the fixed factors of production, and variable cost is the cost which is because of the variable factors of production. So now let us just first understand that what do we mean by our long run. So in long run, all the factors of production used by any organization vary. That means there is nothing known as fixed in the concept of long run. The existing size of the plant or building can be increased in the case of long run. So this is here we can see the difference between your long run and short run. In short run, you were not in the position to increase or decrease the size of the organization, the production scale. But in long run, you can easily do that. You can increase your size. There is no fixed input or cost in the long run. Long run is a period in which all the cost changes as the factors of productions are variable. There is no distinction between long run total cost and long run variable cost, as there are no fixed cost. So that means your long run total cost is directly equal to your long run variable cost. It should be noted that the availability of the organization of changing the inputs enable it to produce at the low cost in the long run. And that is why all the companies try to make sure that they enter the long run so that they can have the low cost and can become the cost leaders. So the long run cost comprises of your long run total cost, long run average cost, and long run marginal cost. And this is because we don't have fixed cost. Your long run total cost is equal to your long run variable cost. And that's why you have only three types of cost: total, average, and marginal. So let us just first understand the long run total cost. So the long run total cost, which is also written as LTC, refers to the minimum cost at which given level of output can be produced. The long run total cost of production is at least the least possible cost of producing any given level of output when all the inputs are variable. LTC represents the least cost of different quantities of output. LTC is always less than or equal to the short run total cost, but it is never more than the short run total cost. So, the point to be taken into the consideration, and you should always remember, is that the LTC, that means the long term total cost, is always less than or equal to your short run total cost. But it is never more than your short run total cost. And why is that so? We will just understand in our upcoming slides. It is because that our so your long term cost is actually summation of different short term total cost. Short term cost 2, short term cost 3, short term total cost 4, and so on. And that is why when you add all the short term cost or the short total cost of different period, different short terms, and then when you add them together and draw it on the graph, you get your long total cost. So actually, your short-term total cost 1 plus short-term total cost 2 plus short-term total cost 3 is the summation which gives you long-term cost. And because of this, our total cost in long run is always equal to or less than are short term costs, right? Remember this point that the long term cost is always less than or equal to the short term total cost. It is never more than the short term cost. And this is how you draw your long term cost. The different short term costs are added together to get the long term cost. As the picture shows, the short-term total cost curve STC1, STC2, and STC3 are shown depicting different plant sizes. The LTC curve is made by joining the minimum points of the long run total cost curve. You see over here, the minimum points are taken into the consideration and they are added up to make your long term cost, and that is why it is less than your total cost. Now let us just understand how to calculate average cost. So your average cost is equals to total cost divided by number of goods produced. So the formula which we learned in our previous video lecture is average cost AC is equals to TCN divided by N. Over here, N represents number of goods produced, that means output. And this is the total cost, and this is how you calculate your average cost. So the formula of average cost is total cost divided by number of outputs. So let's take an example that we have to calculate average cost if your outputs are 0, 1, and 2. Your variable cost is 0, 10, and 20. Your fixed cost is dash, dash, dash. Why? Because we are right now learning long run. And in long run, we don't have any fixed cost. We have variable cost. And that is why our total cost will also be equals to 0, 10, and 20. And now let us just calculate average cost. So as we know, the formula for the average cost is total cost divided by n. That is why it is going to be for first level of output, it is 10 divided by 1, which is equals to 10. And for the second level of output also, it is actually coming 10. It is just because we have taken the example in such a fashion for the easy calculation. But otherwise, it will change. But I do hope now you have understood how to calculate average cost. So now let's just discuss what do we mean by long run average cost. So your long run average cost is depicted as your LAC. So your LAC, that is your long run average cost, is equal to total is equals to long run total cost divided by the level of output. So the only difference is that we have added the word long run. Otherwise, the same formula: total cost divided by level of output or the n. The derivation of the long run average cost is done from the short run average cost curve. In short run, plant is fixed and each short run curves corresponds to the particular plant. The long run average cost curve is called the planning curve or envelope curve, as it helps in making organization plan for the expanding production and achieving minimum cost. So the curve which you will see right now is actually envelope shaped curve. That's why it is also known as envelope curve, and it is also known as the planning curve, because this curve helps the managers to understand and take the decision regarding the expanding of productions and helps them to achieve the minimum cost. So now let us just see how we derive the LAC curve. So when we draw the short-term average cost curves of different short-term, and then we draw the line and pass it out, and we draw our long-run average cost curve. In long run, an organization has a choice to use the plant incurring the minimum cost at the given output. LAC depicts the lowest possible average cost of producing different level of outputs. The LAC curve is derived from joining the lowest minimum cost of the short run average cost curve. The same way, the way which we took for the derivation of our long run total cost curve, the same way we take the help and we decide and we take the help of the lowest area or the lowest cost of the short run average cost, and then we add those points and we draw our long run average cost curve. So you can see over here the minimum point this, the minimum point this, and this minimum point is taken into consideration. They are joined together to draw our LSC, right? Just take a minute and understand how we have achieved this point. The minimum points are added on the graph with the help of a line, and this is how we derive the LAC curve. And the same way we did it for our total curve. See, the total cost curve also, the minimum points were taken into the consideration. So actually, in long run, we just take the help of the different short terms, because long run is what? It is a summation of different short terms. And when we take the help of these different short terms, we end up to our long run curves. It can be noted that till OB amount of production, it is beneficial for the organization to operate on the plant SAC2, and it entails lowest cost than the SAC1. If the plant SAC2 is used for the production OA, the cost incurred will be moved. Thus, in the long run, it is clear that the producer will produce till the OB on the plant SAC2. On SAC2, the producer will produce till the OC amount of output. If an organization wants to exceed output from OC, it will be beneficial to produce at SAC3 than SAC2. So what we are trying to say over here is this, that when we are at OA, then we are at OB, and then we are at OC, right? In your SAC2, if your cost increases or you increase your output, your average cost is also increasing. That's why it is beneficial for you to be at the level of OB only. And if you want to shift ahead, it will be better if you go to the OC level, because over here it is minimum. Otherwise, it is increasing and it is going to increase your cost. And that is why we are taking the help of all the minimum points and then adding that together to get our LAC. So see, so we can see the another way of preparing the diagram. We are preparing the average curves. So this is how we draw our average total cost curve in short run with small factory, then with medium factory, and then with large factory. And the red line represents the long run curve. So we take the help of the minimum point. You can see over here, this picture is much better and clear to understand. And then we add them and draw our long run average total cost curve. Just have a look at this diagram, that how we have used beautifully the minimum cost of the total average cost in our short run with the small factory, medium factory, large factory, and then we have added them all together so that we can form our average total cost curve in the long run. And later on, we will understand in our upcoming video that what is economies of scale and then the diseconomies of scale. So these three words which are there in front of you, the economies, constant, and diseconomies, we will study in our upcoming video. But right now, just understand that how the graphs are drawn. Please use pencil and scale. Don't use the pens to draw the graphs in the examination. The clear picture will be the one which help you to get the good scores. Otherwise, with the help of the ball pens, the papers get messy. So now let us just understand what do we mean by marginal cost. So marginal cost is the cost of production of an extra unit. So that means the cost which is incurred to produce every extra unit of output is known as your marginal cost. So let's take an example that at level 3, your total cost was that at level 3 your total cost was 1550. At level 4 your total cost was 1900. So therefore the increase in unit by 1 has increased your cost by 350 units, and this is nothing but your marginal cost MC. So the formula to calculate the MC at the level of any output is equals to total cost at that output minus the previous total cost, that is NC n minus 1. So this is how we calculated the 350. So now let us just see how do we calculate the long run marginal cost. So the long run marginal cost is defined as the added cost of producing an additional unit of commodity when all the inputs are variable. Why? Because we are in long run and there is nothing known as fixed variable. This cost is derived by the long run marginal cost. On the graph, the LMC is derived from the points of the tendencies between the LAC and SAC. So you can see over here, it is a bit messy, but you will understand it. Let me use the colors to help you out. This blue line depicts your LMC, that is your long run marginal cost, whereas this red one is the short term average cost. So what you actually do is, let me just draw and show you that what we do, how to calculate it. So what we actually do, let us just assume that we have only two short runs, that is short run 1 and short run 2. So what we do is we first draw the short run average cost of 1, that is short run average cost curve of first period. Then we draw the short run average cost of second period, and then we draw our short run variable cost. So let me use the different color so that it becomes more clear. Let's take it red. So our short run marginal cost of first, and then we write our short run marginal cost of 2. And the points which intersect, at the point where we intersect the short run average cost and marginal cost, these points, right? Can you see these 2 points? These points are taken into the consideration, and we add them or join them, and we say we have got our long run marginal curve. So the point of intersection of short run average cost and short run marginal cost, those different points, right, they are joined together to draw our long run marginal curve, right? So this is how we draw our long run marginal curve. But in the case of our long run total curve, what we do is just we take the minimum point or the minimum cost of the different short run and add. Same for the long run average cost. At that level also, the minimum points were taken into the consideration and we used to add them, and we used to say that we have long run average cost. But for the calculation of or the for the drawing of our long run marginal cost, we take into the consideration the point of intersection of short run average cost and short run your marginal cost. And those points are then joined together to draw our long run marginal cost, right? So let us just have a quick recap of what we have studied. So over here, we have studied the different runs, that is short run and long run. And today in long run cost analysis, we discussed how we calculate the long run total cost, which is actually equal to the long run variable cost because there is nothing known as the fixed cost in the long run. Then we learned how to draw that curve. Then we learned the long run average cost. We also learned how to draw the long run average cost. Then we learned how to draw the long run marginal cost. That is the point of intersection of short term marginal cost and short term average cost. And those points of intersections are joined together to form your long run marginal cost. So now let us just simply solve the MCQs. So now let us just have a quick recap of what we have studied in this video lecture with the help of the 10 MCQ questions which I have prepared. These MCQ questions will help you out to get the concepts of this topic more clear. So now let's solve the MCQ questions. So the first two MCQ questions are on your screen. Question number 3 and question number 4. Read the question very carefully and then select the best options as per your learning. Question number 5 and question number 6. Question number 7 and question number 8. And the last two MCQ questions of this video lecture, question number 9 and question number 10. So now let's just discuss the correct answers and check how much you have scored out of 10. So the correct answer for question number 1 is C. For question number 2, it's C. For question number 3 also, the correct option is C. Question number 4, the correct option is option D. Question number 5, the correct option is option C. Question 6, the correct option is option C. For question 7, the correct option is option D. Question 8, the correct option is option B. For question 9, the correct option is option C. And for question number 10, the correct option is option D. So I do hope that you have scored full 10 on 10 in this entire MCQ test and have understood how to calculate the different types of cost in the long run. And in long run, we have only 3 types of basic cost, that is your total cost, average cost, and marginal cost. And then we also learned how to draw the graphs of the 3 types of these costs. So thank you everyone for watching this video lecture. Do hope that you have learned how to analyze the long run cost of production. Thank you and happy learning.